Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Project Recap Podcast, formerly known as Project Cap, the podcast where we recap everything sports, music, entertainment, and more. I am your host, the infamous TYB, aka Thank You Brother, and I just want to thank you for stopping by. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Project Recap Podcast. It's your boy, TYB, aka the infamous Thank You Brother, and this is episode 4, 28 days later. We are here. Don't have much NBA to talk about, of course, because of the current situation. League is still suspended, and I've actually heard today, I don't know if this is true, I was on Instagram and I saw a clip of Austin Rivers talking to Remy Workouts, and he was saying that the league could reopen and only play about 7 games and then it's straight into the playoffs. So I hope it's not true, but with Austin Rivers, of course, being an active NBA player, I mean, he knows better than me and the next guy. So if that is the case, I hate it. I don't think you even should open the league because you got teams like Portland, teams like I'm shooting blanks, but teams that were vying for that A spot. You're not really giving them much of an opportunity because all Memphis has to do is win a few games, and they're good. New Orleans is the other team, of course. You don't really give guys like Portland and guys like New Orleans a real opportunity to fight for that 8th spot. If anything, you need to give the league the rest of the season. Like, I understand it's getting worse just because people aren't doing what they should be doing. People aren't following guidelines, staying home unless you have to leave. And me too. I haven't been following 100%. Like, the only times I've come out is to make a few runs to the store, and that's that. Like, I don't make moves to go link up with a group of friends or whatever the case might be. I'm trying to do my part the best I can, but there are other people who aren't. And I was reading something on CNN today, like people that are asymptomatic are likely to continue the spread of coronavirus just because you don't feel like you have it, like you don't have any symptoms like loss of taste or loss of smell, or your respiratory system is on a 100 really just because you don't feel like any of that affects you. You feel like, okay, I'm good to keep going out and continue to do what I was doing prior to when all this began. So I feel like it's a selfish mentality that a lot of people have, seeing what's going on and seeing that it's increasing as the days go on. So I don't know. I think the season might not even come back just for that reason. At this point, I don't think it should. If it does get worse, I don't think you should reopen it for like 7 games, like a week and a half or 2 weeks of games. I don't think you should. That's not really fair to players who were looking for home court advantage. That was like 5th seed, and they were looking to get into that top 4 so they could at least have that first round be, or first round or 2 be on their, like, get that home court advantage, or whoever's the number 2 seed, and the West and the East still trying to fight for that 1 spot, even though I think it's impossible just because of how the Bucks and the Lakers were playing and their standings before the league suspended. I don't know. I think it should be a dub if it continues to go, and I personally think that it's going to go into the fall, like early fall at least. I think the summer is gone. A lot of people were looking forward to the summer, including myself. Like, I feel like this is going to be a very interesting summer for me coming out of college, being a college graduate at that point. Starting a new job, new money, everything was just going to be different compared to years prior. So I was excited for it, but I understand that I have a job to do, and that's to follow guidelines, and that's to stay home as much as possible. They've even canceled my first day at my new job. I feel like they're going to go ahead and cancel like this or postpone this training too. Like that first day they canceled was the meet and greet. I feel like they just gonna go ahead and cancel that whole or postpone the whole training. I don't think I'm essential to my job at this point. I feel like the guys that are already in my position, that are already working, you can consider them to be essential, maybe just because this video repair. So I don't know. People at home might have issues with their TV and stuff. They might need to call. So I feel like the guys that are already in those positions should be in there. If anything, let me train from home. I'm sure there's a way to do it. And I'm all for it. I really don't feel comfortable being in an office space at this point in time. It's definitely gonna be more than 10 to 15 people in the building. So I'm cool. I'm cool with, it being postponed as long as I'm still getting paid fully. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to pull my 9-hour shifts and get my bread. So, but anyways, like I was saying, the league should be canceled, or it should be canceled if it does get in fact worse. I'm against the idea of playing in front of empty crowds. It takes away a layer that's important to the game, and I feel like if you remove the fans, it just becomes like, I don't know, it just takes away so much energy. It looks like just open court. Looks like we going to Bethesda and running fives. So I don't know. I'm against it. I'm against it all if it does continue to get worse. But I did want to pose a question to any NBA fans listening. So I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about, like, when LeBron retires, like, who could be number one? Who would replace him as the king of the league? Like, current players right now, and maybe even players coming in next year. But of course, names like Kevin Durant, Zion, Kawhi, guys like that came up. I think it's going to be Giannis personally. Giannis reminds me so much of let me rephrase that. I don't think he reminds me so much of Bron, but his progress and the way he kind of plays a little bit reminds me of Bron, minus his playmaking. LeBron's a way better playmaker. Like, I was looking at the numbers on basketballreference.com, and LeBron, I think, had like 500 assists at least 500 assists every season. Giannis had seasons where he barely got 100 to 200. So, and even per game, like, LeBron, of course, is averaging way more assists year by year and career wise compared to Giannis. But in terms of their ability to push the ball, move around the floor without the ball, getting to the rim with ease, effortlessly, with such dominance, I feel like guys like Giannis, and even looking at their ability to shoot and how, of course, Bron in his first 7 seasons compared to Giannis. Well, first I look at LeBron. LeBron wasn't that much of a reliable shooter. And that's you can even look at games, especially in the playoffs, in his first 7 seasons. A lot of players played off him. Like, when he was on the ball, they played off him. They dropped back. They forced him to shoot up until when he got to Miami. People started really respecting his jumper. Like, he had his career high, I think, in percentages and 3-point percentage when he got to Miami. So people had to respect his shot, especially when he got in Miami. And then from then on, he's just been, he's been a terror on the court. Like, you just don't know how to guard him. Like, there's no real way to guard him. So, but when I was looking at LeBron's splits over his first 7 years, like how he shoots from 10 to 22 feet over his first 7 seasons, and even up until this point, and how the progression looks compared to Giannis. Of course, Giannis is currently in his 7th season, even though this has been a shortened season. When you look at the splits, they look very similar. Like, they progress each and every year when it comes to shooting, like, a little bit outside the paint to all the way out to the 3-point line. Inside the 3-point line, not considering 3-point shooting right now at this point, but even still, too, their 3-point percentage, their splits for that has improved over the years as well. So I feel like, looking at how, Bron really started in the league not being much of a shooter, even though he could shoot the ball. Like, I was watching quite a few highlights, of course, during this quarantine, like 2007, 2004, 2003, just different years, just looking at different highlights. Of course, he's pushing the ball. He's always looking to make plays. But if he had that open jumper, he was pulling, and he would brick, he would airball in some cases. but he just kept shooting. Like, and every year since then, ever since he got drafted, he's just gotten so much better when it comes to shooting the ball. I even saw an old report, I think on Bleacher Report from the 2015-16 season. They were saying he was like the worst shooter from outside the three. If I'm not mistaken, let me pull up his percentage for that year. 3-point percentage. He shot 30%, which was, of course, his second season back in Cleveland. And it's fairly been at 30 to 35% since, his return to Cleveland, or return to Cleveland after his stint with Miami. So I don't think, LeBron is a horrible 3-point shooter regardless of his percentages. Like, especially when it comes to those clutch situations, you put the ball in his hands, he'll probably knock him down. It's just, I feel like during that like first 3 quarters, like he might, hit that struggle point. Like, he might hit that dry spell and can't really knock him down from 3. And I feel like Giannis is just like that. Players play off of him when it comes to half court sets. They don't really trust his jumper. But he's shown the ability to knock him down. Like, he's been showing that he's working to add it to his game and become more of a threat when it comes to shooting from 20 or 10 feet and so on, like and further out. Whether that be, face-up jumpers, post jumpers, coming off the dribble, catch and shoot, like however you want to put it. I feel like he's going to add more of it to his game, and especially when you have situations like what's going on right now where he has more time to just work. I feel like that's something that we should keep in mind, like, as the years go on. Giannis is going to be that guy. I feel like he's already, outside of LeBron, he is the second most dominant player in the league. If it wasn't for Kevin Durant getting hurt, my pick would be KD. But since he got hurt the way he did, I have to look past him until he's able to come back into the league and show me something. So I feel like Giannis is that guy. Kawhi can't, even though Kawhi did stop him, I feel like that's not always going to be the case. Giannis is going to improve and continue to improve. He might, need a change of scenery. Who knows? He might leave Milwaukee. He might pull LeBron. He might pull the LeBron move and make his decision at some point in time to leave. Who knows? I've heard so many times that he can end up going to Golden State. Ooh-wee. If you go play beside Steph and Clay and you Giannis, scary. That is, wow. I might have to hop on the bandwagon. But yeah, I really feel like Giannis is going to be that guy. And I want y'all to let me know, whoever's listening, let me know what you think. Like, who could be that guy when LeBron retires, if he ever retires? I feel like he got another 10 years in him, and he's already in year 17. So I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. That's something I'll be glad to debate about, even expand on in episode 5 next Thursday here on CampHollerStudios.com. But yeah, with this quarantine going on, no NBA, it's just been hurtful. Like, I've been wanting to watch just games, man. I hate having to go back and look at old games, even though that's kind of cool to go back and look at, players that are still in the league, what they were looking like years ago, or like different playoff series, finals games, whatever. It's cool to go back and watch those games and relive those moments, or even see games that I was, didn't get to see because I wasn't watching basketball at that point in time. I just missed the league, man. It's been nothing to watch. All I've been able to watch is like stuff on Netflix. I got the Shudder app. It's got a bunch of horror movies on it. Well, it is a horror movie streaming app, if you will. Stuff on YouTube. Like, just, I feel like I've been watching the same stuff back to back to back. But I did just start Ozark. That is a very good show. If anybody is looking for something to watch, definitely tune in to Ozark. Season 3 just came out like in the past week or something. I started season 1 over the weekend. And I hate that every time I want to watch it, I'm about to fall asleep. So with me being conscious about that, I always just turn on The Office, because that's something I've seen a million times, and I can, I won't miss anything because I've seen it all, like, continuously over and over and over. So But and then like during the days, I don't really like streaming stuff. I get like bored when I'm wide awake. I feel like doing something else. I don't like laying in bed and just watching Netflix. I don't know. I'm weird. I can for a little bit, but then I'll get very like damn, I gotta get up, like turn on the Xbox or work on something. And speaking of that, so I don't know how many of you out there are big gamers, but it's been a interesting week for the Call of Duty community. Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered came out this week, and I have a lot of problems with it. First off, why isn't it an exclusive to PlayStation for a month? This whole exclusive, this PlayStation gets this game for a month, or gets this game for a month, or gets this game mode for a month. I hate it. And people like to throw in players like myself, who's an Xbox loyal, that we used to get map packs for a month, you know, like DLC a month early. Like, that's DLC. Like, that's not a whole game or a whole game mode or whatever the case might be. Like, that's just 4 maps that you're not being able to play. At least you still got the game. I hate it. I hope with this next generation of systems, they get rid of this, you know, Call of Duty is, this mode is free, or this mode is exclusive to PlayStation for this first month. Xbox and PC will get it later. I hate it. Like, I feel like Activision needs to let that go when the PS5 and Xbox Series X comes out. I think they need to move past that. Not even doing map packs exclusive like for a month. I feel like that creates the rift in the community that, you know, I feel like shouldn't even exist. So yeah, it came out though earlier this week. It is on PS4 right now, up until April 30th. That's when everybody else on Xbox and PC will be able to play it. I've already pre-ordered mine, and there's even been problems with the pre-order. Like, in the pre-order, you're supposed to get stuff for Modern Warfare. I pre-ordered it the day on Tuesday, like early Tuesday, and I still haven't gotten any of the stuff that was supposed to come with it for Modern Warfare. And it's 2 days later. They're constantly, Activision is constantly tweeting, "Oh, we're sorry. Thank you for being patient. We're continuing to monitor the situation." Bro, it's it's bonus content. Like, y'all can't just fix that. Like, they're whew. But the game is priced at $20 right now if you're looking to pre-order it on Xbox or PC. Excuse the voice crack. $20 on PS4 as well if you're looking to go ahead and make that purchase right now. Get into it. It looks beautiful. Like, I watched quite a few little playthroughs on YouTube, like just a few missions, just to see what guns look like, see what the maps look like. And it looks good. I mean, it looks like what they did with Modern Warfare in 2016 or 17 or whatever it was, and just did it with Modern Warfare 2. It doesn't look like it's better than that. It looks exactly like a carbon copy, just with Modern Warfare 2 in place of it. But I'm ready to get my hands on it. I feel like they should have done multiplayer, but I understand why they didn't. They don't want to split their player base amongst Warzone, Modern Warfare multiplayer, and then Modern Warfare 2, and then whatever comes out in the fall. I feel like they made a good decision, but at some point, man, y'all gotta cash in on that. Like, just give us that. Maybe next year around this time they might. Who knows? They said this game has been on hold. Like, they've had this ready to drop since 2018, so they may have multiplayer in the bag too. Who knows? But I do want to speak a little bit more on, you know, COD 2020. Speaking of what's coming in the fall, I personally don't want, what I've been hearing about the most is a Black Ops 5. I don't want a Black Ops 5. Nothing should even go past 3. Even though 4 was pretty good, I don't think anything should ever go past 3 when it comes to games. It should always just end at a trilogy. So 5 just seems like they have no other ideas. Now, I wouldn't be opposed to like a Black Ops like reboot, like how they did Modern Warfare last year, COD 2019. Like, have Black Ops and just add stuff from previous Black Ops games, from 1 and 2, add maps from those games, add guns from those games, skins from those games, all different type of stuff. I feel like if y'all have a Modern Warfare reboot and a Black Ops reboot, you really don't need to make any more games. Like, you can just like Rainbow Six, like Fortnite, just continue to add content to those games for years. Rainbow Six, I think I already said Rainbow Six. Just continue to add content to those games, just for years. And then, I mean, of course, with the new systems coming out, at some point, maybe do a new game. Like, look at GTA 5. They don't make a game every year, Grand Theft Auto every year. That'd be a lot for them to do, but they were successful because of I can't even talk. They were successful because they continued to add content to the game instead of making a new game. I mean, even though that's how Grand Theft Auto has always worked, they don't make games every year, but that is a good blueprint to look at. Like, don't make a game every year. Otherwise, you're going to run into situations where every year with Call of Duty, their game has been piss poor at release. Every year. In this generation, at least, in the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 generation. Prior to this, Xbox 360, PS3, that generation, that was not the case, I don't feel like. But it seems like in this generation, every game that comes out, it's trash at release because they give you half a game and then they charge you for content that should have been in the game. And that's been like every single game, it seems like, this in this current generation. Which I personally feel like this is the worst gaming generation that I've been able to be a part of. PS2, Xbox original wasn't bad at all. So many classics. 360, PS3, same thing. I don't feel like this had the same effect, even though it pushed the bar in terms of technology. It introduced so much stuff to gaming that wouldn't have been possible without these systems. But the releases, the games themselves, at least the games that I played, and I feel like a lot of us have played the same stuff, over the span of, I don't know how many years, 6-7 years these systems have been out. They've been piss poor. The life cycles just run dry just because it's like you don't give us much in the first few months, and then like around, December, January, we're getting new content and having to pay for stuff that should have been in the game from Jump Street. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what this next generation brings, which of course, from what I've looked at, the Series X is better specs wise than the PS5. I won't break it down. For one, I'm sure not a lot of us understand a whole lot when it comes to like the specs, like teraflops and all this other stuff. I mean, some stuff I do, some stuff I don't. I won't, question any of you guys' intelligence, but me personally, I'm not gonna break it down because I don't even know how to dumb it down for myself to understand it, like what this specs means and how will it affect my experience and how will it benefit me, you know what I'm saying? So, but when I looked at the specs, not trying to be biased, the Series X does look like it'll be the better system than the PS5, and the PS5 will only have like so many games that release and won't have backwards compatibility with PS1 through 4, unlike the Xbox, where you can play, even on the current Xbox, you can play Xbox Originals 360 games, and then on the Series X, you'll be able to play those as well as Xbox One games on top of Series X games. So you'll have a deep catalog of games to choose from, even if you don't get a newer game, something that's released for the Series X, that's enhanced for the Series X, I should say. That's where my money's going anyway. I'm staying loyal to Xbox. I don't want to buy that jet engine that they call a PlayStation. I'm good. But do want to touch a little bit, or I wanted to also add for that what I want in COD 2020 on this potential Black Ops reboot, or I would like it to be a reboot. Bring back Blackout. I think that was a successful BR. I feel like that was one of the more fun game modes to play on Black Ops 4. Bring that back and just enhance it, make it better. I feel like some things they could have added to it when it was still fresh, and they made changes over time. I feel like it could have been even better, but bring that back. If you do a Black Ops 5 or even a Black Ops reboot, bring that back. Don't make Dead Silence and Ninja a field upgrade. Make that a perk, because these footsteps have been ridiculous on Modern Warfare. Like, it has caused people to sit in corners. Even myself, I get campy just because I don't want to let somebody that's a mile away hear me. Then they are able to pinpoint where I'm at just based off of sound, and then boom, I'm dead because they waited on me. I don't want that. Please bring that back as a perk. If you don't, I'm going to lose it. And maybe even remaster old Black Ops 1, like how they did with Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare some years ago. That'd bring in some dollars. I'm telling you, I spent a crazy amount to get a remaster of Black Ops 1. That was big heat. Now, before we wrap up this COD 2020 discussion, I do want to speak on the rest, like what should we expect from season 3 of Modern Warfare, or what would I like to see? So I've heard that there's a Modern Warfare 2 and COD 4 map, or a Modern Warfare 3 map, one of the two that's going to be in the new season that's coming in the next week. A new sniper and pistol will also be added. I haven't really seen too much about the guns themselves, like, is the sniper a bolt action, a semi, whatever the case might be. Is the new pistol like a semi, or is it a mat, like a revolver, or is it I don't know what it is. I haven't seen much. I haven't heard much about them, even though I'm sure there's information out there. I just got to do some digging. But I would prefer to see like specific maps come back, like Dome from Modern Warfare 3. That was, I feel like, one of the better maps in Modern Warfare 3, even though a lot of those maps were kind of crowded. I love the game itself. Dome is just, we haven't seen that since then, and that's one of the more popular maps, I feel like, in all of Modern Warfare. So if they could bring that back, that'd be great. High Rise or Estate from Modern Warfare 2. I've been playing a lot of old Modern Warfares recently, so that's kind of where this all came from. Like, I have 2 and 3 installed on my system right now, because sometimes I get bored and just like to go back and play those. But High Rise is something I like to see. Estate, we haven't seen that either since Modern Warfare 2, and I feel like that could be a banger if they could bring that into season 3 or even season 4, when that does come. Bring back the ACR as well from Modern Warfare 2. If you're gonna bring back a gun, with that M4 being as crazy as it is, bring back the ACR to really balance things out. Like, the ACR to me is the greatest assault in all of COD, in all of Call of Duty history. So if you can bring the Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3 variant into it, bruh, I'm going stupid. And if there's another gun I would want to see, either the Intervention or the Barrett. Like, with me, I love to snipe on Call of Duty. So if you can bring back one of those two guns that I feel like is a staple to Call of Duty, bro, I'll cop that battle pass and no question. Like, bro, I would love to see those things though. I feel like having those classic maps from Modern Warfare 2 or 3. I don't really want any more Call of Duty 4 maps. For one, we had Modern Warfare remastered some years ago, so it's not really any different from what we had then. Just, a few tweaks here and there, new little spots and whatnot. I feel like, give us maps we haven't seen you guys bring back before. Estate, Dome. You know what I'm saying? They had High Rise and Advanced or Infinite Warfare, one of those two. So not necessarily something we haven't seen before, but we haven't seen it back in a modern environment. They had it when jetpacks and all that crap was involved. So I love to see that. I don't think they'd ever hear me out because, Activision just do what they want to do, and it pisses a lot of us off. So, but I did want to talk one more game though. I need 2K21 to be some heat this year. Let's go ahead and talk about that right now. 2K20 was trash to me. It just, no matter if it was my player, my team, you playing regular games, it doesn't matter what you play. I feel like the game was completely fraudulent. Nothing, bro. I remember I was hooping with my center on 2K20, Paint B center 771, I think. I got my shot stuffed by Nicholas Batum. Bro met me at the rim. He doesn't do that in real life. Like, I've never seen him palm a center shot and send it out of bounds. Like, that's just one example of millions that I could probably reach into my bag and get. But I need 2K21 to be on a more realistic level, especially because it's going to be on a new generation of systems, I think. Well, it might. What I'm thinking is, of course, with it coming out before the new systems, it'll be on Xbox One and PS4, but then they'll also release it probably for the newer system, kind of how they did 2K14. It was out on 360, but then the one came out and then it was on Xbox One as well. And it was a whole different version compared to Core. So I needed to be something worth buying, because 2K20 was a carbon copy of 2K19 with more problems. So I need them to do better. 2K and Activision, they just have been shitty like over the past few years, and I need them to step it up big time, because some years ago those were the top dogs. You had games like 2K11, 12, you had Modern Warfare 2, COD 4, and Black Ops 1. They had their foot on everybody's neck. But then as years went on and people have started to surpass them and they've been just stagnant, it's just like, bro, a lot of us spend a lot of money on these games, whether it be buying the games themselves or people like myself get the in-game purchases. We spend good money on these games. For one, I'm tired of the half-ass releases, giving me something that's incomplete on day one, and then I gotta wait until like the top of winter to get more stuff that should have been already there, or patches that should have been in place. I feel like I'm only feeling like this just because I've had nothing to do but play these games. So I've started to see more and more of the problems, and like, I don't know, man. I just need to see better from guys like 2K and Activision with these new games that's coming out. Yeah, man. That's really all I had to talk about today. Oh, one more thing. That Party Next Door album. I don't know about y'all, but I didn't really care for it, to be honest. It was underwhelming. I listened to it a few times. It had some good songs in there, but I feel like I only feel that way because I wanted to hear like Party Next Door 1 or Party Next Door 2 P&D. Of course, he's more on his reggae, dance hall, more party vibes, like no pun intended, but I'm not looking to party. I'm looking to, and don't get me wrong, it's lyrics wise, he's always on top. Like, I won't say he's always on top, but he's always superb when it comes to his writing skills. I really love that feature with Rihanna. That's like my favorite song on there. You could play that at any moment in time and it's a banger. But it was underwhelming for me, man. I was looking forward to it. Like, I'm a big P&D fan, but this album just didn't do much for me. Like, it's probably just gonna be one of those projects that I forget about. It doesn't have much replay value to me as a whole. Again, there are some good songs on there, but to me, it's a very underwhelming album, man. And I hope he puts some visuals out, because that might just spice it up a little bit and make me, come around to the album a little bit more. That's what I'm waiting for, him to put out some videos, do a short film or something, do something. Because the album itself is just, I don't know, I give it like a 4 or 5 out of 10. It's okay. It's an alright album, but that is all I did have to talk about today, though, guys. We will be back next Thursday here at Camp Island Studios for episode 5. So please come back when it is time. Other than that, I am signing out. It is your boy, the infamous, the one and only. Y'all know who it is, man. It's me, TYB, and I'm gone.